We are live. Good to see everybody. How's it going? Lots of stuff going on in the crypto sphere. Of course, we got to talk about what's happening in Congress right now. There was an initial vote on the crypto bills. It was lopped in with some other stuff, and a few Republicans and Democrats decided to vote no, and it kind of stopped it in its tracks. So we're going to talk about that. There's also some pretty cool information. I don't know if you guys saw Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, was actually at Ripple HQ. We're going to take a look at some of that information. Of course, we have updates on Bitcoin, stablecoins, regulation, answering your questions, all kinds of good stuff in today's chat. So let's just check in real quick here. Christopher Bergen, nice to see you, man, here. I did see AK Scarface. I did create two chats that I ended up coming to this one. So he was first, but nice to see you, man. Great to have you. PK, good to see you, man. What's up? Ariana is here keeping the chat safe. What's up, Click Akra? Nice to see you, man. Girls Crypto Experience. I haven't seen you in a while. Great to see you, love. How you doing? How you doing? We got D Nice here. Great to see you, D Nice. Chipper's here. Great to see you. Red Panda's here. We got Stone here. Stone Garland. That's a pretty cool name. Cat Heart here. Thank you, Cat. Just so thankful that you are a member of the channel, supporting the channel. I really appreciate you. Bake It Down saying aloha. What's up, brother? How's it going? We got Big Dog here. We got Blackhawk here. We got a lot of really cool people here. Free Speeches here. What's up, Grant? Great to see you, man. Clayton's here. LAX is here, keeping the chat safe. Love to see you, LAX. How's it going? Man, John is here. Everyone's here. Wow, we already have 458 people. We just started. All right, let's do this. I can say hello until I'm blue in the face. I know what you're here for. You're here for news. You're here for information. You're here to expand your knowledge. So let's go ahead and get into that. If you find this chat valuable, things that you could do to help me and the channel is you can repost the chat in your socials, whatever you want to do. You can like the chat. And if you're on X, you can share or like the chat. So I'd really appreciate that support, guys. But let's go ahead and get into it. I will get into some news and I will come back to answer some of your questions, but there's just so much stuff going on today. Let's understand it. I got all the context. I got everything that you're looking for. All right. So let me set this up though. First, we got to look at like what happened, and then we're going to look at the solutions and how we move forward here. So this clip is a little low. I do apologize. Try to turn it up on your end if you can.
To advance in the House, I believe. Let's get the details from Emily Wilkins. Emily.
Hey, Kelly. So yes, this House was just holding a procedural vote that would have then led to the vote on 3 different crypto bills, and that procedural vote has failed. Now, we should note, of course, here that rule was not just on crypto bills. It was also going to set up a vote on funding for the Defense Department. We're trying to learn a little bit more about why the bill went down, but this definitely puts a wrinkle into House Republicans' plan to have this crypto week where they were going to pass crypto bills. You have to get that process vote in place to actually move on to the other votes. One of the members who did vote against the process, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually tweeted a bit this morning, voicing some of her concerns with the bill in relation to a central bank digital currency. She was concerned that the bills did not do enough to prevent that from being created by the U.S.
Okay, so basically what we have right now, guys, is we have this procedural vote was put up in Congress. And so if you're trying to get a bill pushed through the Senate or Congress, you have to have these procedural votes, which basically allow the bill to go onto the floor, and then they can talk about it, they can discuss it. And usually senators or Congress people, they share their like for the bill or they share their dislike for the bill, and they give, this is like the commentary period. And so the crypto bills, there's 3 of them. There's the Clarity Act, there's the Genius Act, and then there's the anti-CBDC bill. They were kind of lopped in with some other bills that have nothing to do with crypto. And so you did have some Republicans crossing the aisle to vote not to push this forward. So 13 Republicans voted no, with the entire Democrats. 2 were not there, I guess. And so here is what that looks like. 210 Democrats, 13 Republicans against advancing the Crypto Act and the Genius Act. Here are the Republicans who voted no. I'm sure each one of these people has a good reason, and I'm sure this stuff will get worked out. It just does suck because it does put it deflates Republicans' movement towards crypto. And do I think this will get resolved? Absolutely. But it does kind of take out the momentum, because we were pushing this is going to be one of the biggest weeks in crypto history. That's what was promised. and now we're seeing some confusion on the Republican side to push this through. So we'll have to see how all of that turns out. It does look like there's going to be another vote scheduled to push this through, but it won't be today. Let me give you this news.
Well, lawmakers were hoping to be able to regroup, find a new way forward, and move ahead this evening, but now they are all being told to head home as a group of hardline lawmakers remain at an impasse with President Trump about how they should be moving these bills through. Again, a lot of these hard members, they really want to make sure that they are banning that central bank digital securities, national bank digital currency. They have a lot of concerns about the national security aspects, about personal safety aspects. But at this point, Trump, so far, has said that he still wants that stablecoin bill to come to the House this week, which means that all three need to go separately instead of being combined. Republican leadership meeting with a number of lawmakers as well as senators this afternoon. But it seems that negotiations are going to have to go into tomorrow. Remember, the crypto industry, they were really banking on getting these bills done, and now it seems like everything is up in the air until they can find a
Okay, so let's just like have a realistic conversation about this. Okay, cryptocurrency has been it's something that Trump ran on. It's one of his key issues, if you will. So he is going to put whatever pressure that he needs on the people that voted to not push this forward to get this done. Now, what does that look like over the next few days? I'm sure it'll be a lot of negotiation. I'm sure it'll be a lot of back and forth, but I do think these bills are going to get pushed through, voted on, and signed into law. I think a lot of people are kind of missing, the point here is these are politicians. They're always going to do what they think is best for either themselves, or their states or their cities or whatever it is, right? And so we're just going to have to see how all of this plays out. Like I said, I think this will get pushed through. It may not be today, it might be tomorrow or later this week, but I mean, this is what Republicans are most. It's what they are most focused on right now. Now that they got their, the big beautiful bill push through, they're looking to do other legislation, and this is that. So we'll have to see how all this unfolds, guys. I know there's, we're not going to get into the politics of it all, but we're just know that this is kind of an issue that Congress is facing right now with crypto legislation. I did want to take a look at this. I usually look at this data towards the end of the chat, but since there's so much going on today, and I did put this out at the beginning of the week, this is something that we should be looking out for. This could affect markets. I did want to go over some CPI inflation numbers. CPI in June has risen to 2.7%. As you can see, if you live in the United States, this is how much more everything is month over month. Utility, gas 14, car insurance, electricity, meat and eggs, car repairs, home ownership, hospitality services. And this also, June marked the second straight month of rising headline CPI. Now, you could be all for dropping rates and things like that. We've had so many conversations on this channel about what the Fed is doing. Remember, the Fed has two mandates. One, to keep inflation low, and the other is unemployment. If they are dealing with unemployment rising and inflation rising at the same time, they are going to focus on inflation. This is the reason that the Fed hasn't reduced rates over the past few months, because they understood that the actions being taken at the time were going to be inflationary. And I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes talking about tariffs and why they're inflationary, but this is what you are looking at month after month rise. So we're going to be able to look at the July numbers. And if we get 3 straight months of rising inflation, we understand what this could mean for our pocketbooks. Your money is not going to go as far as it used to. And man, we just went through high inflation for years. And I know it stresses a lot of people out, but this is what you are looking at. And this is what investors will be looking at when they decide to put money in and out of the market. So this is something that we just should understand and know it's in the background, and know that this could affect the US market. So we talked about CPI inflation rising 2 straight months since February 2025. Strong labor market, which has beat expectations for the 3rd month straight. New tariff letters, tariffs set to go live August 1st. Now, the tariffs have been kicked back several times at this point. If they do go into effect August 1st, that is going to have a negative impact on the overall health of the market. And of course, everything will be more expensive, but we'll see if this does get kicked out another another maybe 30 days or something, maybe to the end of the year. And you are having the president of the United States calling for a 300 basis point Fed interest rate cut. And, Jerome Powell is just not going to do that at this point. Him and the other people at the Fed. Also, something of note here, the 30-year note yield has crossed 5% for the first time in a month. The 10-year note is nearing 4.5%, less than 15 basis points below levels seen when Trump paused tariffs in the 90-day April window. CPI inflation is back, of course. And of course, all while U.S. is flooding the bond market with supply and fund deficit spending. So all of this stuff could mean that your dollar isn't going to go as far as you'd like it to. Also, they're having issues here in Japan. Treasury yields in Japan have slightly surged to a record high, with 30-year yields hitting 3.2% today. Japan's 30-year government bonds have lost 45% of their value in the last 6 years. The reason that we should be taking note of this with the United States market is the bond market in the US has lost significant value as well. And this means that banks who hold these bonds are going to, be out billions of dollars. This could lead to the next banking crisis here in the United States, something that you should be focused on as well. I just wanted to understand breaking down the U.S. bond market moves and economic implications. And so, what I probably will do, there's a lot of information to read here. I'm just going to post this link here for you guys if you want to dig into this. I know it has nothing to do with crypto, but I find this very interesting. And I like to take a look at this stuff. So here, I'll share this link here in the chat. If you want to go ahead and take a look at that, please do. Let's get on to some crypto news stuff. I know that's what you guys are waiting for. So here is Scott Bessent. He is the treasurer of the United States. He is, pushing for stablecoin regulation because the future, listen, the U.S. government needs new buyers of U.S. government debt. Countries like China and Japan and other big buyers of U.S. debt haven't been that interested recently to buy more. And so they need stablecoin issuers to buy American bonds so we can actually sell these things. And so this is why I know stablecoin regulation is going to come regardless. If we have some issues and some hiccups now, it's still on the horizon because they absolutely need this to kind of save America right now. Check us out.
You said previously the interview process would begin later on in the fall. There's been plenty of speculation as to whether that process would be brought forward.
Oh, excuse me. He's talking about replacing the Fed and Treasuries. Let me play this.
Mr. Secretary, do you still, as far as you understand, believe that's when the interview process to replace the Fed chair will begin in the fall, or has a formal process already started?
Well, look, there's a formal process that's already starting. There are a lot of great candidates, and we'll see how rapidly it progresses. It's President Trump's decision, and it will move at his speed.
Do you see any merit at all in selecting maybe a candidate that's already on the committee on the FOMC versus taking a look at someone outside of the Federal Reserve?
Again, there are a lot of good candidates inside and outside the Federal Reserve, Jonathan.
Has the chairman himself, the Fed chair, Jay Powell,
man, this clip sucks,
given you any indication whatsoever as to what he would do once his term has expired? Will he vacate his seat as the governor of the Federal Reserve?
Well, traditionally, the Fed chair also steps down as a governor, and there's been a lot of talk of a shadow Fed chair causing confusion in advance of his or her nomination. And I can tell you, I think it'd be very confusing for the market for a former Fed chair to stay on also.
Okay, really quickly, Jerome Powell was actually put into the role by Trump himself in his first administration. I do think this is something that people should be paying attention to. If Jerome Powell leaves and Trump is able to put in somebody that he can directly control, this could have some impact on everything. So I just wanted to give you some of this information because I find this incredibly interesting. If the US president, such as Trump, were able to directly control the Federal Reserve chair, meaning that the president could dictate interest rates and monetary policy at will, this could mark a significant departure of the current framework of the central bank independence. Below are key potential positives and negatives of such scenarios. So here are the positives. If Trump could control what the Fed chair does, and believe me, in 2026, when there needs to be a new chair of the Federal Reserve, Trump is going to decide who that is. So he is going to have a big say in this. The president could lower interest rates rapidly to stimulate borrowing, investment, and consumer spending. This could offer short-term boost to GDP, potentially lowering unemployment, and especially during economic downturns. Policy alignment, presidential control might align monetary policy closely with elected economic priorities, possibly expediting coordinated fiscal and monetary responses. And then electoral accountability. If economic results are strongly tied to the presidential decisions, voters could more directly link results to the president, enhancing democratic accountability. So those are the positives. The negatives could be risk of runaway inflation. History demonstrates that allowing political actors to set interest rates has often led to inflation. For instance, documented presidential pressure on the Fed in the 1970s resulted in major inflationary period with sustained price increases for long-term economic plan, erosion of market confidence. Financial markets value stable, predictable monetary policy. Political interference could undermine trust, increase volatility, and drive up borrowing costs such as government bonds. Presidents facing regulatory election cycles could favor policies benefiting near-term economy. Basically, like if Trump was, he can't run again, but if there was another election, let's say in 6 months, they could change policy in the United States to try to sway favor in that election is what they're saying here. Loss of international credibility. U.S. dollar's global role rests partly on the credibility and independent data-driven monetary policy. Political control could weaken the dollar and elevate global uncertainties. There's also potential of economic boom and bust cycles. Direct political control risks the Fed being used to overheat the economy before elections, followed by harsh corrections. So there's all of this stuff happening in the background that I'm paying attention to. I know you might not find it as interesting, but this is really going to, figure out if we're going to remain in a bull cycle going into next year, or if we're going to be entering a bear cycle. There's so many things happening. Now let's get to the crypto news. I know that's what you guys are waiting for. Here is CZ talking about where he thinks Bitcoin will be topping out at $500K to $1 million in this cycle, which is crazy. Let me play this.
What do you think the price of Bitcoin tops at this cycle?
Oh, again, very difficult question. Somewhere between 500K to $1 million, I think.
500K to $1 million is what he says. All right. Did you know that Gavin Newsom, let me pull this up. Gavin Newsom was at, I think it was Ripple HQ, wasn't he? California governor, Ripple HQ. This should pull it up. Yeah, here we go. Check this out. Boom. All right, so I just made a video on this. I'm trying to get this video out as quickly as possible. My editor is sleeping right now, so as soon as he wakes up, I'm going to have him try to get this video out. But here is the gist. Governor Newsom of California at Ripple HQ, how to best use transformative technology on behalf of Californians. This actually happened on July 6th, so that was actually about a week ago, which is actually pretty cool. Let me just go through here. I pulled up some information. I thought I brought it over here. One second. Where did I put this? Anyways, let me go into this. Sorry. I was putting this chat together in like an hour. And okay, so here is the benefit. This is like what they were talking about. They want to foster collaboration between state decision makers and experts from tech and business and innovation sectors. They want to bring innovation and new ideas to identify and address systemic inefficiencies in government processes, services, and technology. They want to generate a new California challenge-based efforts to catalyze modern solutions with public services. And they want to maintain public transparency, labor and civil society consultation, and ethical safeguards throughout the innovation process. I actually did a full video on this. There's a lot more to this. I just don't want to spend 20 minutes or 10 minutes going through all of this, but it is a big deal. And it's good to see states already thinking about how they can upgrade to blockchain technology. I did see some interesting stuff here. Let me see if I can bring this back up though. Let me get my Perplexity open. Let me go to my recent searches. I wanted to give you some additional context here. Let me see, library. context. Ripple applying for Mika license. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. This is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so this is kind of. Oh wait, no, this is not what I wanted. 1 second. 1 second. Sorry, I have so many searches. Library. Where is it? Three hours ago. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, here it is. Okay. The governor of California was at Ripple HQ. Do I have any information on this meeting? So it says this meeting happened June 6th, which is weird because Crypto Erie's post says July 6th. So I wasn't sure what the date is correct on that, but the Perplexity has it as June 6th. But here are the focus areas: identifying operational efficiencies within state government, recommending innovative technology-driven approaches to improve the public sector, exploring how blockchain and modern payment infrastructure could support secure, transparent, and government operations. So the cool thing here is they tell us who's involved. So it looks like you have executive Ripple, Chris Larson was involved in this. Coinbase was involved. MoonPay was involved. Andreal, I think they're a defense contractor, if I remember correctly. Instacart, Snap Inc. What I wanted to show you here is the only blockchain infrastructure company that I see on this list is Ripple, right? Coinbase is a brokerage among anything, right? MoonPay, I don't know. I would think, could you imagine services in California being built on the XRP ledger? I think that's what I was trying to get at here, was the significance of, California is the fourth largest economy in the world. It's like US, it's China. The US is like 27 or 29 trillion. China is like 19 trillion. Germany is 4.65 trillion. And California is like $4.1 trillion. There's a lot of money involved in this. And so, you start to wonder how many different things that, if you go to the DMV and you're paying for something, or if you're renewing your registration, or you're paying fines, or you're doing things, how can blockchain and these efficiencies help speed up those processes? So I think this is really cool. Look out for my video on this. It will be out as soon as humanly possible. All right, let me do this. Let me jump in the chat here and let me answer some of these questions. I know I've been talking a lot. We have 1,500 people here. Let me see. I'm not going to scan back through everyone's chats, but if you guys have any direct questions, I'll answer that before jumping into some more stuff. Velo is looking to cook, man. Let's take a look at Velo. I like to hear that, Red Panda. Let's take a look, my man. So Red Panda says Velo is looking to cook. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's look at the 7-day. 7-day here, we are up 26% in the last 7 days. We're at 1.678 cents here. It does look like Velo is ready to cook here. In the last day, we are up 5.37%. Oh, shit, excuse me. All right, here you go. So here is the last 24 hours. You're up 5.38%. Here is the last 7 days. You're up 26.32%. So if you're looking to maybe get into Velo here, obviously, talk with a financial advisor and all that good stuff. But what you're looking for here is probably a pullback if you're trying to get into Velo at this time. This is something that we were talking about. God, what was this? Like the end of last year? Maybe before that, maybe like September, October of 2024, we were talking about Velo heavily. So it's good to see it making a comeback here. See, you guys are talking about wallets. Why don't the people who are in politics retire? Yeah, well, that's the thing too, Sebastian. I think there's a lot of people in politics that are over the hill, right? And maybe they aren't as connected with their constituents as they think they are. And most of these people get into places of power and don't want to give that up. And there's term limits on the presidency in the United States. They can only run twice, or they can only be president twice. And you don't really have the same term limits for people in Congress. So I hear you. And I agree with you. Something should be done. But the problem is the people that would put in place these term limits are the exact people that they would basically be voting to replace themselves, right? Because if they've been there for 20 years or 30 years and they pass this bill, they would be out. So they don't want to give up power, man. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Yeah, be careful with your seed phrase, guys. Never share your seed phrase with anybody. Let's see here. Chasing legends. Retail gives Bitcoin its value. It doesn't make sense for large companies to buy it all up. That's just my opinion. I think there's some truth to what you're saying there. Absolutely. I think companies are looking for utility. And I think if you've listened to all of the the Bitcoin, the major Bitcoin influencers and the people that are already Bitcoin, multimillionaires or billionaires, I mean, they would tell you that they have now set on it's a store of value, right? Before it was, this is like the most innovative technology that's going to replace, the financial system. And then now they've backed themselves into a corner where it's just a store of value. So I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying here, and people need to decide for themselves what they want to do and what they're going to be most passionate about, and what those treasuries are going to look like. Sensei here. Let's see. Quick. Thank you for the daily uploads. Got into crypto this year. Watch your daily, kept up to date on recent events. Thanks from the UK. James, thank you so much for watching, man. I appreciate you. I hope you are learning and you're growing and you're enjoying it, because like those are the three things I mostly care about, that every day I'm kind of teaching you something new, or you are able to now explain this to somebody in your life. I think that's the best compliment. When somebody comes in brand new, they don't know anything, and it, like a few months goes by, and now they're like out there talking with everybody about how cool crypto is and explaining it. I think that's really unique, man. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate you. Where do you see XRP going by the end of this year? This is a question asked a lot. So it really depends on, I'd say it depends on like regulation and stuff like that, but that's really not the thing. It does depend on rates, and if money's easier to access. I think we did miss an opportunity to lower rates here at the beginning of the year, kind of in the midterm of the year. If not for some of the policies, I think rates would have already been lowered. If you can make money easily accessible again at lower rates, people will go and borrow and put it into speculative assets. We saw that play out during the 2020 and 2021 cycle. And man, I just don't know if we can recreate how many people were actively paying attention at that time, because everybody was at home because of what's it called. So I don't know. I think XRP, the demand is there for the asset, but we're not at utility yet. That's the issue here. So like regulation could play a role in that, but if regulation goes into effect in like 18 months or at the end of 2026, that is not going to have as much of an impact on this cycle. So I would just be giving you a random number, man. I don't know if I just want to commit myself to something. I know there's a lot of people like Jake Claver and things like that thinks XRP could go to 4 digits this year or next year if certain things happen. I'll rely on his expertise on price and stuff like that. John had a question. Okay, let me see if I could find that. John. Oh, here. Does anyone have a business account or LLC? Is this the question? I don't. Jake Claver would be the best person to ask about this type of stuff. Jake Claver, I think, has a business that does a lot of this stuff for people. I do know it's a little pricey, but usually when you have a good service, that'll be pricey. If you have this question, Ariana, can you just send it to me on Discord and I'll look at you? Thoughts on DAG? I mean, listen, I think Constellation for a long time had issues with their technology. I don't know if that's still the case. I remember going to like DagCon or something like that in LA. I think it was 2022. And Wyatt was still there. He was still, the technology head for Constellation. And, they were talking about mainnet launching. I remember mainnet launching back in 2021, then it was like 2022, and then it got pushed back. And so I think they had some earlier challenges. And I think a lot of people that were interested in building on the DAG ecosystem had to go to AVAX or Binance or another chain because they couldn't get the technology figured out. I do remember a conversation I had with somebody that was building or interested in building inside of the DAG ecosystem. I know that they put a team on trying to build in the technology and pair the technology. I think they were the second company to do that, and they said it was extremely complicated. So if DAG has been able to fix that and make it easier for businesses to connect to their networks and stuff like that, I'd imagine it's going to have a pretty decent speculative value in this market. But I don't know. I'd have to take a look at their technology and what they've been doing the last few years. I just haven't put a lot of time into that. There's probably Dagnum PI on X is probably the best source of DAG information I can think of off the top of my head. Let me see if I can remember this guy's here, this person right here. This is the person you want to follow for DAG news. Here. I'll post his X account there. This guy is he eats, sleeps, and breathes DAG. So this is definitely somebody you probably want to follow, and maybe he can help you out with that question. Hey Sensei, out of interest, how did you come across XRP all these years ago? I found out about through a mutual friend, colleague at work. James, that's a great question. My dad actually sent me a YouTube video. I think it was like a Brad Kimes, digital perspectives YouTube video on XRP. I watched one video, and that changed my life. I was never the same after that. Like, I really wasn't the same. I at the time, I was 34-year-old male, 35-year-old male, just married for a few years. I spent a lot of my time selling real estate, some of my time playing video games. And I didn't really have a direction of what I wanted to do with my life or what I was really passionate about. I found XRP, and story changed. And I knew that this technology was something that was going to reshape how people interacted with value and finance, and how money was going to move around the planet. I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I knew that I wanted to be a part of that. And it turned into what you see now. So a lot of time and energy. I wish I had an exact time of how long I've been researching, but the last 5 years, I'd say 6 to 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day is how much time I've been putting into it. What was the part of the crypto bill that is crucial? So it's three. It's a vote on 3 bills. It's like digital asset regulation. It is the Genius Act, which is part stablecoin regulation, part other stuff, and it is the anti-CBDC Act. It's those 3 bills that Republicans are looking to get over the finish line. It just looks like they need to figure out what's going on within their own caucus, because you did have 13 Republicans voting with Democrats. It is sad to see that some Democrats are not voting for these types of things, and I think that could hurt them down the line. But they're taking a stance, and that could be good or bad for them. Obviously, I think it's bad for them, but I'm not a political commentator or anything like that, so not going to touch that anymore. All right, so we got yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that. Like, I think they're missing out on what makes this country great is innovation and technology. I think Democrats have failed over and over again at getting this over the finish line. And I would think that instead of doing everything they can to stop it, why don't they start working with some of these people and trying to get protections for consumers? Like, if that's what you're most concerned about, put that forward. But it's very complicated, and our country is very politicized, and I don't know how that's going to turn out. I think it'll get over the finish line. I think it's just going to take some things to be ironed out to get it over the finish line. Yeah, I agree with you on politicians, guys. I 100% agree with you. Some crazy stuff. What's up, Clayton? We got Silver Fox in the house. Do you think XRP will go down in the bear market? Listen, everything goes down in the bear market. Everything goes down. Okay, I can only give you an example of me in the last bull market, 2021, 2022. Like, it didn't feel like anything could affect the market, and then You got into like January, February, markets were like, okay, they were still going good. And then as soon as we got into April, that's when Terra Luna collapsed. And that put us like totally into a bear market. Looking back now, November of 2021 was the high point for the crypto market. There's a lot of people like Mikkel. I think I've read a few of his tweets that he doesn't think that we're going to have 4-year cycles anymore. And I just don't agree with that. I think you're always going to have bull market and bear markets. I do start to wonder though, if you have people like Raoul Paul saying that the crypto market is going to be $100 trillion market over the next 8 to 10 years, is that all going to happen, drip by drip, or is that going to happen next cycle? What is the timeline on that? If the United States goes into any type of, if the economy starts to go backwards, like it's already slowing down. If it starts to go backwards, that could affect how much people have to invest. And absolutely that will affect the market. So I still think we're in these cycles. I would love to be proven wrong about that. But time and time again, like if you look at the last 100 years, here, let's look at this. So look at the last 100 years of the stock market. How many bull markets? How many bear markets? If I remember correctly, it is like 28, 27. If I remember correctly, let me see here. Bull markets. Okay, hold on. I must have been looking at the entire length of the thing. So here you go. Over the last 100 years in the stock market, you have had 21 bull markets and you've had 20 to 27 bear markets. Now, bear markets are considered a dip of 20% or more, right? Bear markets are defined as declines 20% or more from the previous high, but you still have the biggest, market in the world going through these cycles. I just don't understand why people wouldn't think the crypto market is going to experience the same thing. Adoption and tokenization of financial assets, that is going to play a key vital piece, but is it really going to get us there in the next 12 months or 6 months? I don't know. Hard to say, man. Hard to say. Yeah, Ethereum's looking good over 3,100. I mean, we knew Ethereum was going to go, right? It was Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then altcoins. That's how the cycle goes. A lot of people believe Ethereum's going to go like 8,000, 10,000. I think if you ask, we were talking about this like end of last year. And I said, I believe Ethereum will go to like 6,000 to 8,000, maybe 10,000 if the market is really booming. And it still looks like that. Let's see here. Greetings from Siberia, Dre X, Dr. X. My bad. I had Dr. Dre on my mind. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I there's a lot of stuff happening in the market, guys. I think things will be all right as rain. I know emotions are high, and we're all trying to get to this finish line. With regulation here in the United States, it is coming. I think we just need to let these people figure out what they're going to do. Everybody has a different agenda, right? And we just got to let it play out, man. We did have the ISO migration happening that just happened yesterday. It is interesting, right? If you showed up to any of these chats that I do, if you've watched any of my content about ISO migration, I was very clear on what I thought was going to happen. And if you go back and watch the content I've made about ISO over the last 2 months, right? I told you that I don't see the price, going to $100 or $1,000 on July 14th, that this was going to be a date that came and went. We already had hard data on all of this, right? We know that ISO transactions are already being done in millions and millions of numbers globally. 70 countries already moved to the ISO standard. And so we already knew this wasn't going to be a huge, huge deal yet for ISO tokens and things like that. Banks are still waiting for regulation. So this wasn't a surprise, but it is nice to see XRP at $2.92, up 26% in the last 7 days, along with the rest of the market, right? Let's go back here and see what else is going on. Man, anybody still buying BNB? Does anybody participate in the BNB ecosystem? I just can't stand BNB for some reason. Look at this, Cardano up 27% the last 7 days, man. How many times did I tell you Cardano was going to pump, man? Like right in this area, we were talking about Cardano, right? And even in this dip here in this area, right? We were talking about Cardano, pumping and doing some pretty good numbers. We talked about midnight and how that's going to bring in millions of people into the Cardano ecosystem. Cardano's still looking good. Cardano's still looking pretty good, man. Yeah, I think it is good to point out when you're correct, because people go out of their way to point out when you're incorrect. So yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say I was right. Thank you, Bitcoin Barber. Appreciate you. I kept BNB bag a few years ago, storing leftovers from coins I sold, and Binance gave away some BNB now and then. I know, but like, is anybody actively buying it? We don't have an exact date on it. It's going to be a massive airdrop. It's supposed to bring in like 30 million. It's going to be airdropped to like 30 million wallets. They're not airdropping Cardano. They're going to be airdropping, I think it's the midnight token or the night token. Yeah, man, we were just talking about that, Richard. ETH is taking off, man. It looks pretty good. Yeah, recently I have been. The problem with meme coins, like especially meme coins, 90%, 99% of meme coins end up going to nothing. And like, if you are like talking about 10 meme coins, chances are 9 out of 10 meme coins are not going to make it. And often people follow you into those types of things. So I've been trying to not post about meme coins. I've been putting more money into utility over meme coins. I've been putting some money into some AI stuff too, but I've been staying away. Yeah. It is, you can do that. You can buy a ledger from Best Buy, but like, you are putting yourself at some risk though, right? Because you have to, buying a ledger from Ledger directly is the safest option. Buying a ledger from a store, right? You have to hope that nobody at that store is, doing anything wrong, right? Like I could see somewhere in the United States that somebody worked at some type of Walmart or Best Buy, took a ledger home, opened it up, wrote down the seed phrase, repackaged it, and then it was sold to somebody. Like I believe that's probably happened more times than we know about. And I would just not even take the risk. I would buy it directly from Ledger's website personally, but you can, you're going to do whatever you want. That's my 2 cents. Sensei, I hear a lot of hype around BlackRock ETFs on XRP. Can you actually see it happening? Yeah. So like, listen, the reason BlackRock stepped into Bitcoin ETFs, the reason they did that was because of the demand from their customer base, right? You had BlackRock customers actively searching for Bitcoin ETFs. And now, you're going to get that same type of momentum, I'm sure. It probably won't be as big as Bitcoin because you have, a 10x holders. I think there's like 50 million or something like that Bitcoin wallets, and there's like 6 million XRP wallets. So you already have like 1/10 of the people. And so you have 1/10 of the people searching for those products. And so as XRP becomes more mainstream, like, as Bitcoin is, I definitely can see a demand. Will it happen this year? I think if you start to look at other institutions getting approvals over the next maybe month or two, if we have like a bunch of approvals in August or September, that could put pressure on some of the bigger people to come in, the bigger institutions like BlackRock, before the end of the year. That could absolutely happen. Do we have a legitimate timeline of that happening? No, there's no information on that. Yeah, man, you got to watch out. Like meme coins, like, man, it could be pretty bad, dude. It could be pretty bad. And you have to watch it too. Like, I am so busy trying to create content, for you guys, and, posting stuff in Cryptonaires and trying to talk with people, answer questions on the side. you know, like watching meme coins 24/7 is just a full-time job. And if you're not watching it, you need to be careful. Yeah, hold H bar. Yep. Absolutely. H bar, XLM, XDC, SHX. You know, these are definitely things we've talked about a lot on this channel. And I'm looking forward to a Blackhawk. I really am, man. I really, really am. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see all of these really incredible people become extremely wealthy overnight. I think that would be an incredible sight to see, man. I would love to see all of these different people from all different walks of life, all different countries, all different backgrounds, all different political divides. You know, it would be good to see everybody, you know, do well. Love that. Yeah, you don't want to post what you like, how much you have. You will get targeted by scammers. You probably already are targeted by scammers, regardless if you're posting, but you never want to tell people how much crypto you actually have, right? Obviously, you know, my whole channel is on XRP. Obviously, I own XRP. I'm just not going to tell people how much I own because that could, you know, someone could try to come rob me or something. Oh, I appreciate that. Herb Kiffers, man. That is a unique name. Thank you. I appreciate you. What do you think about XCN? Ooh, is this Metallicus XCN? No. This is, I think I know what this is. Hold on. Is this? Yes. No. They changed the name of it, right? You're talking about JP Morgan's token Onyx, right? They changed the name to like Kinesis. I know there's a lot of like fake XCN tokens, so we try to not talk about it on the channel, to be quite frank with you. 20x this year, XRP. I mean, like, I think people underestimate like how much XRP is on exchanges. I did a video about this recently. There's only like 3.5 to 4 billion XRP realistically available to be purchased. A lot of XRP on exchanges is already spoken for by people like you and I. And, you know, if there is a run on that XRP, that could be, you know, the price could explode pretty quickly. There's also people underestimate the market cap multiplier. I just did a video on the market cap multiplier for XRP. I did a ton of research to really understand like what is Bitcoin's market cap multiplier right now today. I researched all of it. It's coming out in a video maybe today. No, it's coming out tomorrow, Wednesday. Go watch that video. That'll really give you a better understanding of how much easier I think it will be to get to a higher price for XRP. I mean, if you look at the market cap multiplier for XRP, it's somewhere between like 100 and 600x. So what that means is for every $1 that goes into like a spot XRP ETF or that goes into the inflows of XRP, it could affect the market cap anywhere from $100 to $600. And you can actually look at the data today on Bitcoin. And I think for every $1 that goes into Bitcoin, it changes the market cap like 70x or something. It's kind of crazy, man. You know, like dude, there's a lot of FUD. There's a lot of believers, you know. We've been looking at this the last few weeks, and there's a lot of people that are like standing behind their initial calls on it. You know, it's a lot of drama. It's a lot of FUD. I still haven't seen a comment from the Ripple team about it. We researched this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we spent like 20 minutes trying to find like legitimate connections. And we were, you know, we didn't find anybody from Ripple publicly commenting about it. Now, does that exist somewhere on X or something? It might. I just haven't come across that. So I'm a little careful about it right now. AI stuff. Yeah. Like AI projects, different technologies. One of those, like we talked about, what was this? Last month, right? When it launched. Let me see. Dex tools. Hold on, like ANGL. What is this at now? I mean, here, this is an example. So in the chat, like last month, oh shit, where'd it go? Hold on. In the chat last month, we brought up this token Angel. This before it launched. Like I gave you the information in Cryptonaires. I also gave you the information the day before this project launched. This launched at about 1.2 million. This thing topped out at about 11 million, which was like a 7 or 8x just in a day or two period. So when I say AI stuff, this is something that I invested in when it launched, and made a decent return. I'm still holding on to some of my bag, but I did take some profits. So yeah, when I say AI stuff, I'm talking about that. How do you claim your XRPs? You don't claim them. You buy them and they're yours. You shouldn't have to claim them. If you're claiming something, I don't know if that's XRP that you're claiming. Kate, what's up, Kate? Great to see you. How's it going? You know what, VeChain, I was really bullish on VeChain last cycle, and I just haven't gotten back into it. I know what is it? The guy that owns the UFC. What is his name? I can't remember the guy's name. I do apologize, but he only owns, I think, 1 or 2 cryptos, and one of them is VeChain. I think he owns like $1 million worth of VeChain. And so, I think there's a lot of companies that can use VeChain's technology. I'm just not actively pursuing knowledge in VeChain right now. There's so many other things to buy, but I do think it's a quality asset, utility asset. Let's see. Since I saw a pic of the head of Sam, something outside the House of Lords in the UK, just unsure the Photoshop. Yeah, dude, that photo looked weird, didn't it? Didn't the photo look weird? Here, let me see if I can find that photo, bro. I thought the exact same thing, Curtis. Man, was it Zebic House of Lords? Dude, the photo looks super Photoshop, dude. This photo, right? This photo, right? Is this the photo, Curtis? Is this what you're talking about? I think this is what you're talking about, right? Something about this looks strange, man. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, Joe Rogan owns VeChain. I think he said he owns $1 million worth of it. Curtis, I think this is what you're talking about. Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is this looks suspect to me too, bro. Yeah, dude, Wormhole looks pretty good, man. You know who talked about Wormhole really early? Somebody, I think, whose channel is like underestimated in the crypto space. Somebody that like I really look up to, and it's Crypto Eerie. She posts a lot of really incredible information about the XRP space. Let me just show you her channel if you don't know who she is. Man, she's definitely someone special to follow. So this is her. She's got 272,000 followers on X here. She was posting a lot of really early information on Wormhole way before anybody else I saw. Is it Dana White? Yeah, it's Dana White. I think it's Dana White. Is it Dana White? Both of those guys look familiar, bro. Top 5 cryptos? Yeah, this is pretty simple. Well, let me give you 6. XRP, XLM, ADA, HBAR. Ooh. Hold on. Let me pull this up. 1 second. Hold on. XRP, ADA, SUI. That's what I was missing. I was like, what am I forgetting? SUI, Stellar, Hedera. That's 5. I mean, Chainlink is also very important. A lot of people like Near. There's a group of people that like ICP. Ondo's up 17%. I mean, there's a lot of really, really unique assets. People like Render's up 22%. But yeah, those are the 5 I would recommend. Flare is something that people are looking at too right now. A lot of really good stuff happening with that. Dana White owns VeChain. That's what I was going for. Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate you. Jen's here. What's up, Jen? How you doing? Yeah, man. Wormhole, Axelar, and Chainlink are all important in the XRP ecosystem. April, great to see you, April. Absolutely. Listen to April. She knows what she's talking about. Listen, Jake is a highly intelligent individual, very well connected, and he puts out a lot of really, really good information. I've learned a lot from Jake in the past, when I've interviewed him or talked to him about certain things. And, if he's got a good theory, it comes from a place of knowledge about the subject. So I'm not here to, say that he's wrong about anything. I think he could be right about it, actually. So we'll have to see. Yeah, XTC is also a good one. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I mean, are people still buying Songbird? I love how you guys are like all commenting on the stuff that you like. I love that. I love that. Quant, yeah, Quant is very popular. Quant has a lower supply than Bitcoin. Quant has like 14 million something supply. It has a lot of utility, and crazy to think Quant won't be $10,000 one day. Let's see here. Scott says the vote today, the Clarity Act in the House. Do you know? Yeah, they didn't vote to push that forward. It was a procedural vote, right? Because they wanted to bring it to the floor to talk about it, and it doesn't look like that was able to pass. We did talk about that at the beginning of the show. I mean, that stuff will all be worked out, man. Like, I think it'll all be worked out sooner than later. It is like a pivotal thing that Republicans have been pushing, and it's a lot of things that Americans want. And usually, if you have 50 million people in America that own crypto, that's going to happen regardless, whether a party doesn't like it or not. It's going to happen. It's just when, it'll happen sooner than later, I think. Other Nomad, great to see you, man. How's it going? Oh, we got Chris Theodore here. Chris, great to see you, brother. How you doing? Let's see here. Mitchell says, I asked ChatGPT if XRP could move trillions at a low price. It basically said yes. ChatGPT and other AI models are only as good as the information that you're putting into them. And you can ask a question a certain way, and it doesn't quite give you the response maybe that you were looking for. So I would go back and use different AI models. Don't just rely on one, especially if you're going to be asking a question like that, and see, use 3 or 4 of them and get a good average of, what it's saying. I use Perplexity on, myself. Nothing, man. We're just, answering questions here, get into some crypto news and stuff like that. A lot of stuff happening in the crypto space. Obviously, we have 1,795 people watching. We've got 1,154 people on X, 641 people here on YouTube. Guys, if you are learning, if you are having fun, if you're growing in the chat, please hit like. Do support the chat. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Crypto Sensei. I've learned so much from you, and I believe you. Hey, man, I appreciate that. Thank you. As long as you're learning and you're growing, that's really all I care about. Yeah, Crypto Eerie is OG XRP. She's top notch, man. She's good people. Yeah, here, if you're wondering like what happened with that, let me just show you real quickly. I just don't want to like re-engage. We just calmed everybody down from higher blood pressure, and we don't want to re-engage that. But here are some of the Republicans that voted against putting the bill forward. So you have Andy Biggs, you have Tim Burchett, some Cloud. I don't know who this person is. Congressman Michael Cloud, I guess. Clyde, represent Eli Crane. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene, Andy Harris. I don't know who a lot of these people are. Luna, Representative Paulina Luna, Scott Perry. So you have these list of 13 Republicans, and you have pretty much almost every Democrat that voted to not push this forward. So I think there was 2 Democrats that didn't vote or something like that. So I think this is a speed bump. I'd imagine the Republicans control the Senate and the House, and they control the presidency. If they want something done, they're going to find a way to get it done. So, crypto's an important step. But it's I know we've been sitting and waiting for regulation for years, but if you take a look at like how long crypto's been moving through Congress, it's taken some time. But if you haven't been paying attention to it, you're just getting these 3 crypto bills lobbed on your desk. And I'd imagine that people that are maybe in their 70s or 80s that are still in the House might not understand the benefits of the technology, right? Usually the older you get, the kind of less technical savvy you become. You know, I look at like my parents, my mom, super technical savvy, my dad, not so much, right? And so, you know, I'm sure that a lot of people that might have older parents feel that sometimes, you know, they're not as good maybe with understanding newer technology, or they don't want to spend the time to understand it. So, you know, there are going to be people that are just confused right now, and that's unfortunate, but I do think this will get across, guys. I really do. Yeah, no, you know, I think every cryptocurrency looks for its own place, right? Like, you know, the some of the best ways to, you know, gin up, or what is it? Was the gym up? Gin up? I don't. The best, some of the best ways to kind of get people talking about your product is to go out and, you know, attack or take a shot at, you know, a big competitor in the space. And so you just look at Ripple, the company, and where they've come over the last, you know, 12 or 13 years. It's kind of incredible. And they are at the top of the food chain when it comes to blockchain infrastructure. Let's call a spade a spade. So, you know, there are going to be companies that want to be in the limelight, and some of them will take shots. Now, it was Gilbert Verdian out there talking shit about that Ripple and XRP. I don't think I've ever seen a clip of Gilbert Verdian bad mouthing anybody. If it's out there, I haven't seen it. You know, I think between like HBAR, XRP, and Quant, I think these guys have been working together on so many different things. You know, you look in like the EU talking about regulation, the digital euro. You're talking about the UK doing concepts with Ripple and with Quant. I think they've been in the same rooms for years with each other, and I think there's a level of respect that comes along with that. So, you know, I haven't seen too much of that nonsense, and I think they're working together, man. Great content. XRP case is over this week. Borja, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Change our kids' lives. Oh man, we're trying to. We are trying to. Late to the show. It's okay. It's okay, D-Red. Glad to have you here, man. Love to you all. May we manifest our retirement. Bill Clayton, well said, man. Well said. I appreciate that, Calvin. Thank you so much. I really do. I think everybody that spends time every single day watching content to better understand what's going on around them, I think, you know, you all need to understand that you are taking these steps in your lives to better it, right? Maybe, you know, maybe you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Maybe, you know, you've always worked extremely hard at everything that you've been able to acquire in life. And this is one of those things where the more energy that you put into it, the greater the outcome can be at the end. And, you know, you got to give hats off to you guys for taking the time. Let's see here. We got Chosen One Collecting with the 199 super chat. Appreciate you. Luna, thanks you. Without legislation and structure, crypto goes nowhere. You're right, but you're talking about just the US, right? Now, let me ask you this question. Okay, you're the United States. So do we understand the reason why the US like wants to pass crypto stablecoin regulation right now? Do we kind of get that? All right, it's to do with America needing a new buyer of US debt. Okay, at the end of the day, we still need new buyers of US debt. Okay, and if it's not going to be China, if it's not going to be the UK, if it's not going to be Japan, it needs to be somebody else. And this is a very important step of the Trump administration, and I just don't see them dropping this anytime soon. So, you know, sometimes in life we run into a wall, right? Or we stumble. It's just like, are you going to get back up and keep trying? And I think like Bill Haggerty and French Hill and some of these Republicans that have worked on this for years, I think those people aren't giving up anytime soon. I think people are underestimating, these things always happen. These things always happen, right? There's always roadblocks in Congress. So, you know, try not to harp on it too much. I think we're going to get through it, guys. All right. We got $2 here, Canadian. Honk. Thanks, Sensei. Keep it up, bro. Appreciate you, Goose. Actually, I really like the name with the two, look at the eyes. You got like little eyebrows over the O's. I like that. Yeah, I mean, we could get into this too, man. We could definitely get into this too. It's a tough subject, right? Because half the people think one way in this country and half the people think a different way. And so no matter what you say here or know what you're going to do, you're going to piss off half the audience. So we try not to touch too much political stuff. But yeah, people have opinions about all of this stuff that's going on. And, we'll just have to see how it all plays out. Yeah, I mean, Emily has a good point here. Emily has a really good point here. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene said that the reason, that she voted no was because of, the, anti-CBDC act, I guess, didn't go far enough for her and her constituents. So, I think there's been like 3 or 4 different ways they've killed the CBDC here in America. Will we eventually have a CBDC 10 years from now or 20 years from now? Who knows? But right now, they're not interested in passing a CBDC. And, there is a lot of liberty people will give up if we go to a CBDC, and that stuff needs to be addressed sometime. But it's not going to be now. Man, so many comments here. Let me just scroll down here. Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't just his meme coin. There was a lot of liquidity sucked out of the market, but if you take a look at this whole cycle, there has been billions of dollars lost by just regular people, putting money into something that they thought was going to have value. And if you are losing in crypto, somebody else is winning. That's how it works. If you are winning, somebody else is losing. And, when you have all of this money going into, stuff that doesn't have utility, that only relies on, random, meme coin bros posting stuff about it, that's probably not something that, you can hang your hat on. And that's why I've shifted away from meme coins over the last few months, because there's not enough liquidity in some of these tokens. And it can be pretty scary, man. I'd rather buy more XRP or more XLM or more ADA. So let's get back to a little bit of news here. We still got about 1,870 people watching. I got some other stuff I want to talk to you guys about. It does look like we got some new information here about Circle. CEO says stablecoins now let people transact like messaging on WhatsApp. Let's go ahead and play this, what Jeremy Allaire has to say here. And I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back.
As the leading regulated stablecoin network in the world, we're I think in a really, we're in a great place to build on that. And this is a moment where it's been a long time since you've actually had an upgrade to the financial system, to the very nature of what electronic money is, and digital currency really represents that. And we're, as I like to say, still in the very early days of this. And so, we think about, just like Treasury Secretary Besson talks about trillions of dollars of stable coins in the coming years, major investment banks and others, looking at trillions of dollars of stable coins. We can imagine a world where, stablecoin money is the primary way that transactions happen on the internet. And that's what we're going after.
I think that is the message from your stock performance, right? That something transformational is happening. But can you just explain what the major use cases are for your stablecoin, USDC?
Yeah, so we operate a stablecoin network, and it's important to understand there's the actual digital money, like the USDC asset or the Euro stablecoin asset, but it's a network. And that network consists of thousands of products and services that have integrated to our network that provide utility. Those are wallets available to users, households, businesses in almost every country in the world. Those are financial services products that are built on blockchains that allow people to invest, to save, to lend, to borrow, and then an enormous amount of growth that we've been seeing in international transactions. I like to say, like, when's the last time you sent a cross-border email? It doesn't really register. Like, what are you even talking about? And we've talked about cross-border payments and the challenges. I think stablecoin money is for the first time creating a way for people to transact the same way that they message with WhatsApp, the same way that they use the internet for everything else, directly with people, instantly at virtually no cost. And so we're seeing these kinds of international transactions for businesses, for households, and then even within countries where people are finding they want to store their money in digital dollars.
All right, that was a good clip from Jeremy Allaire. Luna did want to say hi. She did jump on here. She wants to say hello, right, little bear? You gonna say hi? We're super excited to say hi. We got the ears down here a bit. We're a little nervous. Oh, too many people probably. We just had this really cute photo shoot over the weekend. We took Luna to have some like professional photos taken because we send out a Christmas card every year. And we got some really cool, cute pictures of Luna. When I get them, I'll post them. You want to go back and lay down? Okay. Good job. All right. You called your dog Baby Bear? Yeah, we call her Luna Bear. You know, because she kind of looks like this little teddy bear. And we get mobbed when we go, like, we have a little stroller that sometimes we push her in because, you know, with smaller dogs, you can't let them walk to, you know, like you let them walk, but you can't let them walk like miles. And sometimes we go to the mall, we'll load her in the stroller and we'll push her in the mall. And like people go crazy, man. Let's see here. Google sucks. Let's see. I swear that this ending of the year is the bull run October, November, December of 2025. Don't be caught on offset because it's going to go huge one day and you won't have time to jump back in losing. I think people still have some time, right? Obviously, if you would have jumped in middle of the bear market, you would have gotten way better prices on a lot of this stuff. I think what a lot of people have issues with is like the best opportunities are bear markets because those are when prices are at their absolute lowest. And I think a lot of people just check out because there's not enough stuff happening. They think maybe there's better places for this money. And so you start to wonder, like, yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe there are better places for your money right now. But like, if you looked back and say, hey, if I would have put this money into XRP at 30 cents or something, right? Or if I would have put it into XLM at like 5 cents, like, would that have made up for the, year or two where you didn't have any growth? And so, man, it's tough. Sensei, can you explain the relationship between XRP, HBAR, Quant, IOTA, and XLM? Can you explain why they need each other? I mean, interoperability is key, right? You have different companies building on different networks. Interoperability is going to be super important, but let's say XLM were to die tomorrow. We're just using this example. Don't say, I'm not saying that's going to die tomorrow, but let's say something happened to XLM or IOTA. Would XRP and HBAR be okay? I think so. Interoperability is important between financial assets moving between layers, right? In between ecosystems, in between blockchains, but they don't like need each other. Liquidity is important. Like you saw the EVM sidechain launch, you saw, over $100 million, in TVL locked already. You've seen 1,400 smart contracts in the first week alone for the EVM sidechain. And that's people building on other networks now moving to the XRP ledger or now starting to build on the XRP ledger. So, I think it's important that all of these networks are able to interoperate between each other, but need is a strong word there. Does Luna have her own Insta page? You know what? I think my wife's thought about it. I think she's definitely thought about it. I don't know if she's done it yet. I try not to like, I don't know. Social media can be a very, I do my own thing. She does her own thing. I think she has kind of like a secret Instagram where she posts like fashion stuff like that. But I don't spend any time on it. I don't even know. I don't even know if I know where that page is, or I haven't even looked for it. It's just one of those things where, it's just important to her. So she goes and does it. Victor Vega. Hey, Sensei, how is it possible that Trump coin, which is good for nothing, is worth more than XRP, which is one of the most important coin in the crypto world? I don't know if that's accurate, though. Let's just take a look at that data here. I think you might be talking about the Trump token is higher price, maybe. Yeah, it's $9. But you're not looking at the right stuff here. So here's the official Trump token. It's number 53. You're looking at this price of $9.40 here. Let me just show you this. Yeah, okay. So you're looking at this price of $9.40, right? But what you're not understanding is the total market cap here is only 1.89 billion. The reason why this is almost $10 a token is because the circulating supply is 199 million. The max supply, though, is 999 million. So this is, you still have to deal with, 800 million tokens that are going to be unlocked, over the next whatever the time period is. Now, if we look at XRP's market cap is way higher. Look at this. Their market cap is $172 billion. So I think you're just looking at the overall price of the token, not understanding that it's the market cap and the circulating supply that will give you that actual price of that token. I hope that made sense to you. If Bitcoin died tomorrow, I mean, listen, there would be pluses and there would be minuses, right? Imagine how much money is now invested into Bitcoin. Think about each one of those investors losing all of that money overnight. That would be catastrophic for the crypto market. Will the crypto market live on without it? Eventually, yes, but that would be worse than like Terra Luna collapsing. And if you remember Terra Luna collapsing, that was a pretty dark time. And then you had the FTX thing that happened shortly after that. That was a very dark time in crypto. I remember I used to do these similar live streams during those periods. We had like 8 people or 10 people in those chats. But we week after week, people showed up. Ariana was in almost every one of those chats. LAX. There's some really incredible people that were there for the entire bear market to go through those chats. But yeah, it would be bad. Obviously, it could be good if you looked at both sides of the coin here. It would be more money to go into XRP and other assets, right? Like, who would be king if Bitcoin wasn't on top? Would it be Ethereum or would it be XRP? I think Ripple and XRP eventually will overtake Ethereum and then maybe one day overtake Bitcoin. When you're talking about the tokenization of financial assets, you can really start doing that on the XRP ledger. You can also do that on Ethereum. But you really don't hear people tokenizing value on Bitcoin. At least if they are, I have not been paying attention to that. So we'll have to see how it is. What are we talking about here, Lola G? Yeah, man. I think, listen, talking just to end the conversation on the Trump meme coin, I think almost every single celebrity or president or whatever that has released a meme coin, I don't think there are any of them that are still doing well, like outside of some of them that are still active, like Melania or Trump. Like, let me see here. Let me just see here. Let me look here, because I know a lot of people lost a lot of money here, right? Because look at this. Like, if you would have bought in at some of these highs here, the peaks, $45, $36, like you just gotten wrecked, right? You're $9, you've lost, 60, 70% of your money. But this is a lot of cryptocurrencies. Here's the Melania token. I mean, this just looks like a rug. I mean, it was at $8, now it's at 21 cents. I mean, this is why you stay away from this stuff. I know the urge is there because you hear stories, right, online. You see people that have turned $100 into $5 million by doing like a 10,000x on a meme coin, right? There are those stories, but with those same stories, there are for every one good story about a meme coin, there is 1,000 horror stories about a meme coin. So, it's all risk, it's all stress. Do you want to be a part of that? Like, I've found myself day after day not wanting to be a part of kind of the meme coin madness at this stage of my life. I want to buy utility assets. I want to retire hopefully in the next 5 years here, and I hope I can do that with my current holdings. About the cycles, what about the cycles, Lola? Like, that we're not going to have cycles anymore? Like, are you saying that most influencers are wrong about the 4-year cycle, that people are saying that we're not going to have 4-year cycles? You think that's wrong, or you think that's correct, that we will get rid of the cycles? I'm trying to figure out what side of the fence you're on so I can really talk about it. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough, dude. So if we're talking, are we talking about utility coins, or are we talking about meme coins, right? The meme coin playbook here, like if you're trying to understand the best process in a meme coin, from my experience, I can only talk about my experience, right? I don't think there's any financial advisor on the planet that would tell you to buy a meme coin, but I would imagine it would be something like you buy a token, it goes up, 20 or 50%. You sell enough of that token to get all of your money back, and then people leave the rest. It doesn't always work out like that, but that is what a lot of people like. That's what they try to do. It wasn't him that launched it, right? It wasn't him that like launched it. It was probably people close to him, right? Maybe his sons. I don't think Trump knows I don't think he knows very much about crypto in general. I think that people around him, like his crypto czar and Scott Bessent, these types of people, they've owned Bitcoin. They understand the importance of stable coins and tokenized assets, and they're telling him like this is something that people care about deeply, and that was part of the reason people voted for him, right? Because of the things that he promised that he would do. Now, is he going to live up to those promises? That time will tell. He's still got a lot of time left. But it's something that I just don't think he was. I don't think he was like the deciding factor on this. I think his name was used. Did I miss Lila G's comment about which side she's on? Right, super cycle incoming. Yeah. So, like, I believe that a lot of money is coming, but I do believe it's hard to imagine that if the economy goes into like a recession like we saw during 2020, remember like what was going on 2019, 2020, that slowed the economy down globally. Now, are we going to experience other events like that? I would imagine we will. And I'd imagine that those events will affect people deeply. And, we're going to still have cycles. I just think we're still going to have cycles, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Pepe was good. Like Shiba Inu, OG Shiba Inu, that was good. In last cycle, like people made a lot of money. I made like a few $100K on Shiba Inu last cycle. I wish I would have gotten to it like a few days earlier. I'd have made a lot more, but it was his sons probably, Jeff. It doesn't, John, as of right now, the bills are stopped. So they were voting on to like bring the bills onto the floor to talk about them. And the procedural vote did not go through. Like it did not get passed. It got denied. And so now that they have to have another procedural vote, we don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow or later this week, but I will keep you updated as soon as I get that information, John. You can follow me on X. I will post updates on X. You can also follow like on TikTok and Instagram. I believe in the description of this video is the links to all my socials. If you want to follow those, I will try to keep you updated, man. Let's see here. A Rondo says, Sensei, can you explain why banks would be okay with Ripple getting access to the Fed Master account? If they are too big to fail, how can Ripple become a bank? Okay, so we got to separate a few things that we're talking about here, right? So listen, some banks, right, JP Morgans of the world, they probably don't want Ripple gaining power, right? They probably don't want Ripple becoming more important than they already are, because Ripple's kind of replacing their infrastructure. And JP Morgan moves what, $10 trillion a day, right? Other banks pay JP Morgan to move value, and that's where they make a lot of their money. If banks had the opportunity to avoid JP Morgan's rails and just use blockchain technology, they could save money. They could speed up all of these transactions. I think to some banks, this is a huge benefit. I think to others, it's a real concern. It's a real threat. And maybe that was why Ripple was sued in the beginning. Like we really don't have a full understanding of why Ripple was sued. Now, we have like Ethereum Gate. We have, the $15 million payment to, oh God, I'm gonna have to look this up now. This was so long ago. Give me all the details around ETHgate. Let's see. ETHgate Foundation consensus, influential mentors, US William Hinman. There you go. So William Hinman was paid $15 million, right? Let me see. Did I pass it? How much money was paid to Bill Hinman's law firm for Bill Hinman by was it Ethereum Alliance? Ethereum Alliance. I thought it was 15 million. I could be wrong. 9 million. He received 9 million in profit sharing from Simpson Thacher between 2017 and 2018. I mean, there were some shady dealings happening there. There were some really shady dealings happening there. We don't know if it was Ethereum wanting to slow Ripple down, or if it was like Chase or one of these bigger institutions that wanted to slow them down. Regardless, it happened, and we're on the other side of that. But of course, Bill, listen, guys, there's so many comments. I'm trying to address everyone, like as many comments as I can. If I don't get your comment, it's not anything against you. It's just like I'm getting like 30 comments a minute. I'm trying to do the best I can here. Let's see here. Sensei, XRP is basically the IMF and could become the world reserve currency. So, John, I mean, I kind of like what you're saying here. I think a lot of really important things would need to happen and go our way for that to happen. But I mean, do we have a shot? We might have a shot. What did they say? Like to become an ESDR, like a electronic version of the standard drawing rights. For a country to hold reserves and of an asset, like I think that asset needs to be used as like the primary currency of that country, something like that. Oh man, I should do a video on this. You know what? Let me make a note. Let me make a note of this. Look into ESDR and Ripple becoming a lender of last resorts, because that's what they wanted to do from the beginning, right? They wanted to be a lender of last resorts like the IMF. It's a possibility. Let me look into it. I'll get all of the best details and I'll throw it into a video for you guys, and we'll go on this journey together. In terms of exit strategy after the alt season, what is safe currency to exit to? Fiat, Bitcoin, or others? So, just trying to take what you're saying here and I'm trying to think it out of how I would address this. So, if we're talking about going into a bear market, right? Putting your money back into Bitcoin as it's going down is probably not the best solution, right? Because if Bitcoin is falling and XRP is falling and every other asset is falling, if you put your money into another crypto asset other than a stable coin, you're going to go down. Now, you obviously want to talk with some type of financial advisor on a plan, because that would be the most, probably that person could give you all of your options. I'm sure there's 100 different things that you could put your money into, but I would imagine that a lot of people would go into like gold or maybe like the Swiss franc, something that is a little bit more stable. I think over the last few months, the US dollar has had like the worst year it's had in like 50 years, right? Let me just take a look at this. Hold on. Let me look at this data. So give me context on the US dollar and the year it's having. I've heard that the US dollar isn't doing well compared to the last 50 years. Let me see. I'm pretty sure that is right. Let me just look this up here. How the federal dollar is how the dollar is doing in the United States here. Let's see. Okay, here it is. The US dollar is experiencing one of the worst years in the past 5 decades. So yeah, that is right. As far as how much it's losing. So, it's tough, right? Like, do you go back into dollars, right? I think, once the market starts to come to a close and we understand kind of more of what's happening, if maybe the dollar has rebounded or something like that. But I know a lot of people will go back into dollars. Compared to other currencies, it's still one of the safer currencies, right? Like, you don't really want to go into like the Chinese yuan, right? Or the Russian ruble or some of these other currencies that are just, so it's tough, man. But I would imagine like gold, silver, these types of things, a lot of people are thinking about. But definitely talk with a financial advisor. Like, if you have enough money in the crypto space, it just makes sense for you to spend, $500 or $1,000. I mean, I don't even know how much one of these people would cost to talk with, but you want to make sure that they have crypto experience, that they know what they're talking about. And maybe some of these people have like a free initial hour that you can ask questions and maybe get some guidance. But I think having that conversation is probably extremely important. Absolutely. Is that the real Oscar Ramos? Is that the real Oscar Ramos? What's up, dude? Yeah, I mean, the yen's been having some trouble too, right? It's hard to say. Absolutely. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's cool. If that's really Oscar, man, what's up, dude? I think that's the first time I've seen him. Hello, Oscar. How are you, sir? Love that. Love to see other content creators jumping in, man. Let me see here. I did want to go over some other stuff with you guys here. So let's bring this back up here. Let's go XRP. Oh man, I love that. I love that. Maybe I think maybe, you know what, Oscar, I'm going to send you a DM. Maybe what we can do is get you on the channel. We can have a good conversation about where you see the market going and what you're bullish about. I think that would be a lot of fun, man. I could send you an invite right now if you wanted to. I don't know what your day's like. Well, we could run this down right now. How much does it cost for 1 hour with Crypto Sensei consultation? I don't really, there's been conversations about me trying to spend some time with community members to talk with them about, crypto in general. And I think that's always a tough decision because I don't want to charge anybody anything for my time, but I know that like, if I make something free, then I'm not going to have time to like do anything. Right. Do me a favor, Rondo, send me a message on like X, or come into Cryptonaires, my community, and send me a DM, and we can figure something out, man. We can figure something out, but there's not like a set number or anything like that. I haven't really thought about it too much. You know what, here, like, let me see. Let me look up Oscar on X here. Oscar. Was it Oscar Ramos? I just gotta make sure I have the right one. I think this is him right here. Oscar, is this your X account? It looks like it. Let me see here. Let me go into StreamYard. I don't know if this man's busy right now, but let's just see what we can do here. Invite guests. I am going to send him an invite just to see if he wants to come up, you know. I think it'd be fun. All right, I sent him a StreamYard invitation. If he wants to jump in, he can do that. But I mean, it is like last minute notice, right? I don't even, you know, we haven't even had a conversation, so this would be fun though. Oh, that's good, man. Fabian, great to see you. How you doing, brother? Information is money. Yeah, you know, I think there's a, you know, it's difficult, right? Because like usually I wake up in the morning and like the first thing I'm doing is getting online to understand like what's going on with the news, and then I'm trying to plan like what is the most important thing that I wanted to like research or better understand today. Like you know, and you come up with these, you know, different ideas for videos and content that you want to create, like what's really important to you. But then like what's really important to you might not be what's really important to the audience, right? And so you have to find that balance, and you know, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't work out. So but no, man, it's good to have other content creators here. Oh, look at that, Oscar. What's up, dude? How's it going?
I'm just grinding, brother. How's it going?
Good, great to see you. Look at that, I blew you up too.
Love that, man. Hey, I mean, I just want to say that I'm a big fan of your quality. You are just on another level, man. Like, I cannot, but you're really putting an amazing job. And I think the XRP Army really likes that. And man, kudos.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. You're out for a jog. What are you out there doing, man? You just
Yeah, I mean, we got a failed house, boat. What are we supposed to do? Just kind of like cry? No, I mean, just get out, touch some grass, and enjoy life, right? What do you think about that? Come on, man. Like, we couldn't pass it.
Man, I love that. I'm glad you're here. Like, do you have any time to spend with us, or should we set this up like you want to come back? Well, you know, I know you're out for a jog and just enjoying life.
Bro. No, absolutely. I mean, we can talk. I got my mics. I'm ready.
Well, so here, tell us. I mean, there's a lot of people that watch you. I know that you are, you know, one of the, you know, like better TA people that I've seen. You put out a lot of really good content about XRP. Like, what's important to you right now in this time? What are you thinking is going to happen over the next few months with crypto in general and XRP?
Well, I think kind of like going back to why are we here in 2025 and past halving, past ETFs, past BlackRock, and a bunch of asset under management, you know, companies that are crushing it right now. So institutional side is very happy. And that's where the money is. Like us retail, the army, the degens, like, yeah, we're wondering, well, when are we supposed to get all the XRP spot ETFs? When are we supposed to get the case, you know, all of that. But institutionally, we're doing really well. And I mean, we're just kind of like waiting a few things that are, you know, under development. And once that's in, that's what we are seeing so far. The Bitcoin doing extremely well as far as, you know, Michael Saylor. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because that's what the people with the real money are looking at. And then us, that we come after. Because I know XRP, I mean, we got everything for us to really be above $3. And I've seen your videos that on your thumbnail, you're like, oh, really? We're going to 100? We're going to 1,000? Let's go, man. Like, I'm subscribing to that. So I think by the end of 2025, easy, we can achieve really, really good price appreciation. In fact, Charles Hoskinson is going to speak on the 17th. I'm sure you know, before Congress. So gotta be ready for that one. I'll be watching. So there's a, you know, on behalf of the crypto industry. So for XRP, I mean, you know, Brad Garlinghouse, who I think last week, of course, that was so cool. He didn't speak that much, sadly, but what you can already tell the people that are supervised, the politicians, like right now today, missing 11 people or 13 people voting no. I think overall right now, Sensei, I think it's just accumulation, and every single dip, just a great opportunity to say, man, finally, because when I saw XRP past $3, I'm like, oh man, no more 290, but then we went back to 280. So you see that? I mean, it's crazy.
No, man, I think every dip gives people an opportunity, right? People are always like, "Oh, I wish it goes lower. I wish it goes lower," but people don't realize that is the opportunity to like get in more if you want to.
Indeed, man. I mean, the way we see it right now is that you can either invest and accumulate, and it's a little boring, but you keep with the community, you're watching, you're listening to the spaces, you're kind of listening to content creators. That's what I love to do. Like I just make fun of me watching my own videos, and I'm like, no way, that's me. I mean, sometimes I just can't stop laughing at myself, but then I go, to some other creators, and it's just great. By the way, I know we just had what was it, Apex, and we had XRP Vegas. Did you go to any of those?
No, I had hip surgery in April, and so my doctor really didn't want to clear me to go travel to Vegas because it would have been pretty rough. But I do want to start attending some events next year as I'm a little bit more healthier. But did you go, man? What did you think?
I wanted to go, but I just had something in my life that happened and then changed everything. But we're gonna have Token 2049. I know people. You can DM me on X, and then we go through Telegram if you wanna get plugged in. Because I know the people that can get you there. I don't know if you have an agency or so that you work with, but there's like a lot of people that work behind the scenes, and they can take you to places. And I mean, God willing, I'm going to Singapore in like 3 months, so we're gonna have a good time right there. There's a lot of XRP people. I don't know if you're interested.
Dude, I'll send you a DM, man. I'd love to better talk with you about that, but I think that'd be really cool.
No, absolutely. So I think the opportunity right now is amazing, and I'm sure that your positions are really looking really well, and YouTube is doing really well right now. I mean, really excited to have all the people back, right?
Yeah, man. It's every day you still show up and you still put out great content, and it's just when the people come back and they enjoy it even more, that makes it even more worth it, right?
No, absolutely. And I mean, you go all in on XRP. Like, in your experience, like, what do you like the most about this community and just the project itself? Because I always kind of like to listen from other different brains as far as Ripple and as far as the company and the ledger.
I think the technology speaks for itself. I think the people behind the technology, I think, are some people that you can't ignore. I mean, they're some of the most interesting, incredibly smart. They come from this Silicon Valley mindset. They understand what it takes to make a company a multi-billion-dollar company, but they also understand that the people are very important. The community is extremely important. I think Brad and David Schwartz and all these people, they do spend a lot of time working with the community and helping them better understand everything. And I think, the future of crypto is stablecoins, right? You have RLUSD. They waited for NYDFS approval, right? It's one of the highest regulated stablecoins in the world now. And so Ripple's applying for a MiCA license to have all 30 European countries, right? I did a video on that earlier today. You have the tokenization of financial assets. You have stocks, bonds, derivatives, real estate, debt. You could put, gold and those types of things, but that is, a 500 trillion or quadrillion dollars worth of value. If the XRP ledger is home to just a few percentage of that, you're talking 40-50 trillion dollars. I mean, that alone could project us into some really unique territory. But I think it comes down to the community, right? Because you can have the best tech in the world, but if you don't have the people that show up every day to better understand that tech and be a part of that every single day, you really don't have anything. And I think Ripple has everything at this point.
Wow, you said perfectly, so beautifully. I mean, that was actually really nice, crafted. I think there's nothing more to add to that. Way I see Ripple, the way I see XRP is, for so many years, for so many months that I've been doing this thing, crypto, I was like locked in memes and community tokens and Solana and a little bit of Ethereum, Dogecoin. And I remember looking at XRP and saying, no, it's too complicated. That was my excuse. It's too complicated. I'm like, nah, I mean, it's a black X. What is it? I don't know what it is. And I would listen from so many people, no, that's an old coin. No, that's like a super boring coin. Just doesn't do anything. Plus, they're getting sued. And I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that. And that was my mistake, obviously. But it taught me a lot. Yeah, they're getting sued for a reason.
Yeah.
And that was a good reason, like, because they're trying to go against the grain. They're really trying to make a big impact. So years later, finally I doubled down and I'm like, you know what? This is why XRP, there's no community better than this one. And I really like it. I think what you said about, Brad Garlinghouse, and I mean, it was kind of funny to go through the season when Chris Larson donated to Kamala Harris. That was fun. I was like, everybody's like, yeah, let's go Ripple, let's go XRP. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, it's his money, right? I mean, he can do whatever he wants with his money, but for sure, that was like a bump in the road. But then we passed that, and then at the end, it's like, okay, we won, and the case. Bro, what do you think about the case? Like, what are they doing? I mean, it's already dropped, but I think we're waiting for the SEC, correct?
So as of a few weeks ago or whatever, when they decided, Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out that Ripple is going to drop their cross appeal or whatever, and so now we're waiting. So it was supposed to be like 30 to 60 days. I think they have to go to the second district, and they have to acknowledge that both appeals are dropped, and then I don't know if it gets kicked back to Judge Torres. But this should all be wrapped up here in the next 30 days. I did see there's some people on X claiming that on July 17th that the SEC is having a closed door meeting, and that could be something to do with XRP. But we always hear that. And I did want to make a comment though. If you're Ripple and you are going into an election, right? It makes sense to back both candidates though, right? You probably have to understand there's some strategic to what they were doing there, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, she had a few months to prepare, but I mean, it was not like a Trump MAGA movement, but at the end, I get it. Like Chris Larson, he's the executive chairman. Like he's a big guy. I mean, he owns everything basically. So he kind of wanted to do that, but Brad Garlinghouse, and then we have a Stewart, right? They were all like, this new kind of, I mean, he did a really good job, by the way, too. So, I mean, so far, we're just kind of waiting a little bit, but I really like our position as far as 280 to 90s. That's super healthy. I mean, how many times we wanted to see those prices again, and just comes all of a sudden. So, big question. Maybe one more, and I hop off. But price predictions for you. Like, what are we looking at by the end of 2025? What do you think?
I think it's so difficult to call it, right? Because I just made a video yesterday on market cap multipliers for the crypto industry. And I looked at data for Bitcoin, and I looked at data for XRP. And people don't realize that there is a huge market cap multiplier when it comes to inflows and market cap change for XRP. And so the data that I was looking at yesterday was that for every $1 that goes into XRP, it changes the market cap either 100x up to 600x. And so if we're able to get ETF approval, and if we're able to get $5 billion or $10 billion, and even if you do a 100x multiplier, that's 500 billion or $1 trillion market cap for XRP just from that value. And then you got to look at the EVM sidechain, right? You have 1,400 smart contracts in the first week. You had 105 million TVL. There's so much movement. Once you get the actually official case dropped, that is going to put even more demand. You also have companies building XRP related treasuries and XRP related services. I think people are underestimating the impact of all of that's going to have. And so if we get the ETFs, if we get even more TVL locked on the chain, I think we're talking multiple double digits. But if we can like really get shock supply, I think the sky's the limit, man. I think Jake Clavers thinks that we could even get to like $1,000 XRP in the next year or two if these certain conditions are met. And so it's tough to say, man, but we have so much forward momentum. It's really looking up.
So $2 is like just baby steps. This is just nothing. This is going to be like the bottom of the next bear market, maybe, or bull market, right? I mean, this is not going to be something we're going to be talking about later. I'm sure that you watched the video from PBD, Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, about
I'm
Swift,
sure you did.
Ripple taking over Swift, or whatever the volume.
Yeah, I mean that's when you notice that 1%, 5%, 10% late. $100, $1,000. So it does make sense, right, to wait and be patient. But one more, obviously, I think that we are all waiting. BlackRock, like they haven't announced the new crypto that they want to be, trying to get an ETF. Once that case gets fully closed, I think that's gonna be a catalyst, and from there we go. As you mentioned, we have like 15 plus spot ETFs. We just got an ultra leverage ETF, which those are good, but not really what we need as far as spot.
Yep.
So, man, it's just a ticking bomb. I mean, we're just walking the right steps forward, and we just got to be accumulating enough, because I don't really kind of want to buy a $5 XRP anymore. I mean, I know it's gonna go much higher than that, but just see the difference, like $2.50, $2.50, all the way. I mean, we can really skyrocket maybe to, but I mean, we just saw for the month of April and May and March, went all the way to 160, 170, 180, and the comments were like, "You clown, you suck, you stupid," and you're like, "Okay, we're gonna go back under to $1," and I'm like, wait, I know you hate me, but wait. And all of a sudden, and you know that very well, right? Like everything, all the emotions change, because so easy crypto can be manipulated in a way. I mean, with all the geopolitics that we have suffered, but now there's not much of that. Russia is not really affecting much the market, which is good. And then Jerome Powell, we're waiting for that guy. He just posted something on Watch Guru that I think Trump is considering the Treasury Secretary. So, there's a bunch of nonsense, and we'll see what comes out of that. But, man, my prediction, definitely we're going to be passing that $5, $6. We're going to be at least 2 to 3x, and we're just going to be much happier.
Man, I love that, dude. Listen, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and talk with the audience. I know how many people in my audience love you, and they cross-watch both of our content. So it's an honor, man. It's so nice to talk with you. Listen, if you want to come, I live stream on Tuesdays and Fridays. The door is always open, man. Anytime you want to come back and talk crypto, man, please just let me know. I would love to have you back and to have a deeper conversation about other things that you're interested in, and just keep doing you, man. I know there's a lot of people that love you to death, and we need more people like you in the space. So thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank you so much for that. And same, I mean, my doors are open. We get thousands of people too, bunch of family. We go and pump it up. So everybody who comes to my streams, they know that we go really crazy with the music. We go really crazy with the vibes, because that's the way we believe, and that's my vibe, and I love it. So get thousands of people and even more. So you're more than welcome to join me. And guys, go ahead and subscribe to Crypto Sensei. He's doing a really good job. The quality, that's what I really like. The quality is next level. I'm not gonna get there because I'm too lazy, but he's doing it. So really well done, bro. And get better for sure. Because I mean, I know health is super important.
Sorry, I was looking up your channel to share with the community, and as I clicked on your channel, it started to play your video. So sorry about that.
No, that's no worries. But thank you for that, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, buddy.
Oscar, appreciate you, man. Oh man, it's so great to have guests like that. Listen, I posted Oscar's YouTube account, and I will post his X account. Give him a follow, guys, if you're not giving him a follow already. Man puts in a lot of time and energy, and anybody trying to make the space a better place and bringing that much love and excitement, how could you not love that? So I appreciate I appreciate him stopping by. I did see the super chat that I wanted to come back to. I didn't want to interrupt our guest, so I appreciate you waiting. XRP flip-flops says, how's it? Can you explain how XRP will be valuable if XRP costs less than a cent per transaction? Couldn't banks just use stablecoins for transactions as world reserve currencies? Maybe a dumb question. Never a dumb question. It's actually a great question. It's something that you should always be doing. Always be asking questions like this. When you stop asking questions, you stop learning. So this is incredible. So let's talk about this. The RLUSD is on 2 chains. It's on Ethereum. Oh, I almost flipped you off. It's on XRP, right? So it's on 2 chains. It's on Ethereum and it's on XRP. if the transactions are happening on the XRP ledger, each one of those transactions that involve that stablecoin have to use XRP as the gas token. So that would create even more demand for XRP. Now, can XR be used over and over again? Yes, it can. Absolutely. But is there enough XRP to be used in all of these different things in different areas that we need, right? If you're talking about bringing on trillions of dollars of tokenization, you're going to be locking up XRP and RLUSD in a lot of this DeFi and tokenization of financial assets. So there's, in my personal opinion, once the world actually realizes that this is where the future of value is heading, I really don't think there's enough XRP, honestly. I know there's 100 billion units, and that's been ticking down because the burn rate and all of this stuff, but I still think there's going to be a huge demand. And since we just are now wrapping up the SEC and Ripple case, we are seeing developers for like the first time. We're seeing, a wave of developers coming in. Each one of those developers building on the XRP ledger, all of those projects are going to require XRP to facilitate, all of what they're building, right? The infrastructure, the DeFi layers, the DEXs, everything. So all of that is going to require more XRP. And if you watch my video I did last week, you know that there's only a few billion XRP really left on exchanges that is available for sale. Now, the circulating supply is still high. I think that's like 59 billion. And if we can reduce the circulating supply, that will also help out these metrics of what we're talking about and a higher price. But there are use cases that are being developed right now that are going to require XRP to be locked up for quite some time. And I think that will more than make up for it being used over and over again for transactions. But great question. Thank you for asking it. Yeah, man, it was great to have Oscar here. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to bring Oscar back. And I'd love to sit down with him and better understand what else he's looking at, like what else outside of XRP he's looking at, but then also to continue the conversation about XRP. Make sure you're following Oscar. I think I posted his X and his YouTube down below here, guys. Make sure you're giving him a follow. It was really cool to see him. But XRP flip-flops, I'm glad you're still here, man. I just didn't want to interrupt Oscar. I know you can appreciate that. When is the second vote? It does look like the second vote might be as early as tomorrow. We did get a clip here. Let me just share this with you. This is the most up-to-date clip that I have. Let me look on X right now to see if there's anything else updated about this. This is before I came on to live stream.
It seems like there might be a little bit of disagreement about exactly how these bills should be passed. What we know is that Republican leadership right now, they're regrouping, they're talking with members. And so we expect to see potentially another vote as soon as later this afternoon. Remember, this is supposed to be crypto week on Capitol Hill, a big week for the industry, a big week for lawmakers pushing this. And there is concern that if they can't figure out how to go forward on this procedural vote, they won't be able to do the actual votes on the bill later this week and could hold up progress. So a bit of a scramble here on Capitol Hill right now, trying to salvage these crypto bills. We'll keep you updated. It seems like there might be a little.
Okay, so the question is there going to be a second vote? I got some more information that I want to share with you. This is a great question by somebody in the audience. Let's go ahead and look into this. What else? What could we expect here later on this week? So it is supposed to be crypto week in America. And if we don't really have crypto legislation, it's not really crypto week, is it? So I do think they're scrambling behind the scenes. Republicans are meeting with the people that voted no on this to try to move them to vote yes. Crypto legislation hit a procedural impasse in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Of course, today's date. The House failed a critical and procedural vote that would have allowed debate and advancement of the trio crypto bills focused, including high-profile stablecoin and crypto market structure measures. Lawmakers from both parties voted against advancing the package, leaving the fate of legislation uncertain for now. Realistically, I think we will get another vote on this, and I think it will happen sooner than later. I think this will be like tomorrow. We'll get more information, and the next day we'll get more information. Just make sure that you're following, you're subscribed, you got the bell notification on, because I will go out of my way to pout out extra content this week covering all of this in detail for you. Okay. Yeah, man, it was really nice to have Oscar here. Oscar just told his mods he had a great time with you. Oh man, I love that. Are you one of his mods, Chipper? Is that how you know him? Do you know him? Absolutely, Lewis. Absolutely, man. I hope it's crypto week, birthday week. Will be blessed. President is going through ETF's launch. Maris, a happy birthday. Don't have to say how old you're turning, but a very big happy birthday from everybody in the chat, including myself. I hope you have a really good one. It's funny, as you get older, the things you want to do for your birthday aren't as extravagant as they used to be. I think last year for my birthday, I was in a hotel. Like my friend was getting married. So my wife and I traveled to LA, like on my birthday, we were traveling. And my last birthday was kind of rough. My friend that was watching my dog actually went through some kind of like medical challenge and let Luna escape into the building. And like we were really panicked about my 40th birthday. It was not a good one. It was not a good one. I just started remembering that in real time. And I think you can see like, I think you can see it on my face, but happy birthday. Damn, that took we took a question about a birthday and we went crazy there. All right. Manifest it will pass. Guys, it'll pass. Listen, I know there isn't a lot of certainty with government. And I think there's a lot of people that feel that government has let them down time and time again. But this is important to all walks of life, right? It's not just one party or another. It feels like that on the voting, but I do believe there are a lot of people in Congress that understand how important this is. And I think certain people will live up to the moment. They will live up to the moment to get this done. And I think it's too important to just let it fall by the wayside. It's just too important, guys. Just, we can take a deep breath and understand that roadblocks will happen. And maybe the roadblocks are a good thing. Hear me out here. Maybe we do need to discuss this more. Maybe there needs to be more protections for consumers. Maybe, it's worth an extra few days of negotiation in the background to get some type of better deal. We have to assume that, things will work out, especially with crypto. I feel like it is going to work out. Yeah, see, crypto legislation on your birthday would be the best present ever. I hear that. B-Day was a couple days ago. Jeff, what'd you do, man? What'd you do? I need some ideas. My birthday is coming up in a few months, and I will be traveling again, probably not on my birthday, but just before. Ariana says, happy birthday, Big Jeff. Yeah, it'll all pass, guys. I know it feels like it won't. And I know it feels like we've been led to this moment to be like, just, no, it's not coming. It'll like, believe me when I tell you, it's too important not to pass. The US needs a new buyer of debt. Without stablecoin companies, that is going to be a massive problem. Also, like, the Trump administration has made so many different comments about upgrading America's payment infrastructure to use blockchain to save money. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense that they wouldn't see through those promises, because I think everybody can get behind a better infrastructure for payments in America, right? Like, if you live here and you're being charged like these absorbent amounts from banks to move money, of course you want to change. Of course you want something better, right? And we'll get it. We'll get it. I believe. Where's the hold on, let me see here. Hold on, images. Here we go. All right, here. This is one of my wife and I's favorite shows. Believe. If you haven't seen Ted Lasso on Apple, that is an inspiring TV show. I believe, man. I do believe it will pass. Have faith. Is 39K enough? Teddy, you don't really want to tell people how much XRP you have. 39K is almost 1%. You'd be in the top 1%. 50,000 XRP is the top 1%. I think that's more than enough. You know, I definitely think that's more than enough, man. Free speech says the system has to change. The banks are just going to fight and control politicians along the way. Fair enough. First they resist it, and then they sue it, and then they regulate it. Well said. Absolutely. I think we've seen this with a lot of different adjustments that big companies or corporations or sectors have had to go through. You know, and it's just something that we're going to get through. Yeah, Ted Lasso is a great show. I think I've watched Ted Lasso, I don't know, like 8 times, 9 times all the way through. Like, we put it on at dinner sometimes. Just, it's so, man, it's so inspirational. Makes you feel good, kind of going to bed and watching it. It's so good. You know what, Scott? You know, you could blame the 13 Republicans. You could blame every Democrat. I think at the end of the day here, you know, different people believe in different things. And I think maybe some people on the Democratic side want a CBDC, and maybe they're voting against the CBDC. When you lump all of these things together, it's difficult to know where people stand, right? Because you've lumped the crypto bills in with like the Department of Defense spending bill or something. So, you know, people could be voting no on other things that don't even involve crypto. We just don't know it because they lumped it all in together. So just, you know, take a deep breath. Teddy, that is too much. Oh, I thought you were talking about Ted Lasso. Love Ted Lasso. See, did anybody watch K-pop Demon Hunters? I recommended that show last stream that we had, and like that is one of my new favorite movies. How rich is, yeah, seriously. You know, depends where you live, how much money you spend, what you want to buy, what's on your dream list of things that you want to buy. You know, what your dreams are, you know, of how much wealth that you need might be completely different than somebody else in the chat. So, and all just like, how much can you save and how much can you live off of? Do we think the system is suppressing the price of XRP? I'm starting to hear more and more that banks are under NDA. So Teddy, what you're hearing about is I think you're combining a few things here. I think you're hearing about the 1,700 NDAs that were brought up by a lot of people like on X and influencers and things like that. I've actually looked into all of this. And so when they had the court case, a lot of these things came up, and it's not 1,700 NDAs. Like, some of them are contracts. Some of them are like payment contracts for employees and bonuses. Some of them are NDAs, but they're not all NDAs. And so there's always going to be some price suppression in the crypto space. I mean, if you look at, you know, how much money gets liquidated every day, there are big players moving these, you know, swings forward and backward. And there's always going to be some type of manipulation. Just, we need to get to a point of adoption where it won't be as significant. We need more money in these assets so it won't be so volatile. All right. Manifest the bill will pass. Yes. I think we'll be talking about this on Friday's chat. And I think we will have some movement in all of this. I really believe. All right. Let me bring up some other stuff here I want to talk to you about. Did you guys see this? I just made a video about this. And so if you're not familiar with what this is so is Ripple. The claim here is Ripple's applying for a MiCA license to expand into Europe. And so I fact checked it, of course, and I got all of the context. And so I did a video on this, but I will give you the gist of it. So if you're interested in watching that video, it'll probably be out tomorrow, I think. Ripple, the company behind the XRP cryptocurrency, is executing a major expansion strategy into Europe. Specifically, Ripple is pursuing a markets and crypto assets MiCA license from the European Union. They're also launching its enterprise-grade stablecoin RLUSD from Luxembourg, aiming to establish a crypto passport. regulatory approval in the EU country, Luxembourg, that grants permission to operate across all 30 countries within the European Economic Area. This is going to be huge, right? Ripple has been trying to expand globally. And what you need to expand globally is licenses to do virtual assets or custody or any of these things in these different areas. And they have to follow the rules of the road. And part of that being in the European Union is you have to follow the MiCA legislation, and that says that Ripple needs to get some special licensing to be able to use their stablecoin or XRP in this area, and that's exactly what they're doing. It says why MiCA matters. MiCA is the Markets and Crypto Assets Regulation. It is to introduce comprehensive, harmonized regulations for digital assets and businesses across the EU. Once licensed in one member state, a crypto firm can passport its services to the rest of the EEA. Remember, the EEA is the European Economic Area, and making MiCA the gateway for true European wide crypto services. And then it says why Luxembourg, because I thought this was kind of cool to know too, right? I've always wanted to know like the fine details, right? Like why this, why that? Always ask these questions. So why Luxembourg is quickly becoming a hub for crypto regulation. Oh man, I hate when it updates. Hold on. Crypto regulation, with major firms like Coinbase and Bitstamp already securing MiCA licenses there. Ripple has registered Ripple Payments Europe SA in Luxembourg as its foothold for EU operations. Industry sources confirm that Ripple has applied for electronic money institution EMI license in Luxembourg, the necessary step for MiCA compliance and EU-wide operations. So this is a very big deal. It's great to see Ripple expanding, and I'd love to hear it. Where can you buy XDC in the United States? So here, guys, I'm going to show you something very easy to understand where you can buy certain things. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up CoinMarketCap here. All right, anytime you have CoinMarketCap, let's go to, let's look up the cryptocurrency that Teddy wanted. He wanted XDC. So let's pull up XDC. And so once we have XDC opened, see this little button here that says markets? It's right next to chat. You click markets, and this is going to tell you everywhere, well, most 90%, 95% of everywhere the token is actually available for trading. And so it'll tell you what it's trading against. So as you can see, most of this is USDT. You do have some like Euro and ETH pairs here, but Bybit, BitGet, Mexi, Gate.io, Gate.io, KuCoin, HTX, Bitfinex, BingX, Bitstamp. There's a lot of places that it's available. Mexi, all kinds of places, man. Let me give you the link here if you're not familiar with this, but that should help you get to where you need to go. All right. And then somebody's saying uphold too. So love that. Let's see here. XDC. I signed up for uphold 3 days ago. Still waiting to be approved. Yeah, it takes some time, man. They got to verify who you are and stuff like that, but I'm sure you'll be good. BB, what are you talking about, man? You're weird. You're such a weird person. I like it, but it's kind of strange. All right, let's get back to some of this information here. I did have a few other things I wanted to get to before we ended here today. I did have this cool clip with Brad Garlinghouse talking about how banks are kind of wanting a different technology other than SWIFT. Let me play this.
We have north of $20 trillion going cross-border each year. It is fraught with error rates, and it's slow, it's expensive. For me, it's a classic like Silicon Valley going up against the big behemoth Goliath, but it's so broken. I mean, when I go talk to banks, it's a beautiful thing for me because banks don't like SWIFT. They're frustrated with SWIFT. Their customers don't like SWIFT, and like that's a great place to be.
All right, it's a great place to be for Ripple. I did want to, there's a lot of information coming out. Ethereum's going higher. It hit this rejection here 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then it just finally broke through. Expect Ethereum to do some bigger numbers here over the next few weeks, I'd imagine. And then there's some people that believe Ethereum will go to $10,000. This is Bitcoin breakout here, down here around the $12,000 mark, and Ethereum is going to be breaking through the same type of levels here. And then people are saying, they're going long on Ethereum right now. So that's a lot of really good information. A lot of people are long ADA right now too. I think ADA is going to do some really good numbers here over the next few months to the end of the year. Definitely something worth taking a look at. And here is this Becker? It is CZ Becker. Listen to this. So I've been talking to you guys until I'm blue in the face about SUI. Here's Alex Becker talking about SUI and ADA.
I think Cardano, as we get down to Cardano and we get down to SUI, this is where we start getting into the 5, 8Xs and whatnot. So I'd really be starting at Cardano. SUI is going to do very good.
All right. SUI is going to do very good. All right. There is some information here about HBAR. I don't really want to get into that though. I did see there's some new information here about 3 commas. I know people are always asking about like trading bots and things like that. It looks like they just had like a month for $1. I know they always have some kind of giveaways and things like that. If you're following them, definitely take a look. I don't know if they have that same deal. That deal was pretty good for $1 for the first month. I don't know if this is, it ended on the 11th. That sucks. I'll take a look and see if there's any other updates from them coming up here. Quick recap, please. Yeah, I got you. Congress, 13 Republicans and almost every Democrat decided to vote no in pushing the crypto bills forward. The crypto bills were lumped in with some other things that don't have to do with crypto. So it's really hard to figure out where people are at right now. This will probably get brought up for another procedural vote, maybe tomorrow or the next day. It is crypto week here for Republicans. They do want to get this thing done. You have a lot of things going on with, you had the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, last week. It was either last week or it was the beginning of June. There's some cross dates mixed up on that, but Ripple, Coinbase, MoonPay, Instacart, and a few other companies got together and they are working to figure out how to upgrade the infrastructure for California, which I thought that was pretty cool. Got a lot of stuff like Ripple applying for a license in the MiCA for regulation to get RLUSD across all 30 countries. A lot of things happening across the crypto space today, man. But that's kind of like the gist of what we're talking about today, plus answering like 150 questions. Market cap is the real metric, like it or not. That's how we measure things right now. Yeah, I mean, sure. But you do realize that for $1 going into XRP or something like that, it's not how much reflects in the market cap. It's not like 1 for 1. You understand that, right? There is a market cap multiplier for all of this value going into these assets. Since there's not a ton of liquidity in these crypto assets, you still have a huge multiplier with Bitcoin. And XRP is what, 170 billion, Bitcoin's 2.4 trillion. So you still have a huge multiplier effect with value coming in, inflows, and that changing the actual market cap. Yeah, scarcity, circulating supply, these are all dynamics for price. All right, let's do this, guys. Let's get in some of your final questions here. We're going to wrap up here. We're going to be going live for 2 hours and 17 minutes. We did have a special guest, Oscar Ramos, today. That was really nice to have him come in and share some of his wisdom and his ideas about the space. And that was really cool. If you want to back up the chat, maybe like 30 minutes, that's when we're talking. XRP $4. Come on, man. We're going to get there. When? Could happen pretty soon, man. Could happen pretty soon. Nobody has a crystal ball. If somebody tells you they know what's going to happen in 6 months, that person's probably, I don't want to say smoking crack, but people can just guesstimate what's going to happen. Nobody actually knows what's going to happen, right? People knew the future. Everybody would be winning the lottery at the same time, right? So just understand that people can give you guesstimates, but don't do the research yourself to better understand what's going to happen. Don't just rely on other people to tell you stuff. Watch your Guru post on an X. Let's go see what's going on. President Trump says the 11 representatives who voted against pro-crypto legislation have now agreed to vote in favor of advancing the bill. See, like, there you go, man. What was I telling you guys? Like, everyone's freaked out. It's not going to happen. calm down. But it wasn't it 13 people that voted against it, not 11? I guess it doesn't matter. Of course, Mike. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a member of the channel, Mike. I really do appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laud. Thank you so much. Spoken crack, you said. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm a 80s kid. Crack was big, you know, when I was, you know, growing up and stuff like that. That's probably not what young people do nowadays anyways, is it? My bad. I don't know, like what's don't want to get into that conversation. That could get really weird. Bill Clayton. All right, listen guys. Thank you to Ariana. Thank you to LEX. Thank you to Curtis. They are the ones who keep the chat safe from scammers and people with ill will. Appreciate every single person that showed up and asked questions in the chat or just watching in the background and listening. We are really at the start of something special, and how much time and energy you put into this is how much impact it's going to have on your life. So, you know, the best piece of advice I can give you is spend as much time as you can understanding this technology, because this technology can really reshape your entire life and how the world is going to transact. And if you can be a part of that, if you can own a piece of the next financial system, that's everything. And that's what we're trying to do here. So I appreciate you. I love you all. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, Oscar, for stopping by. And I'll see each and every one of you on Friday, 3:30 PST for a brand new chat. And make sure you're following my YouTube channel, my TikTok, my Instagram, all the places where I put out information and news. Thank you so much, guys. Aloha. Peace. We did it, Luna. We